I want to confess about the rituals that I did when my wife was giving birth at a hospital that is in Limpopo. It is called Seshego Hospital. I am here to confess, hoping that people can help me out. I'm still in South Africa, brother. I don't know what is going to happen to me. Brother Nashi, how are you? Please post my story on your platform, but when you post, keep my identity completely hidden. I do not know what is going to happen to me when June 30th come around the corner because of the dreams that I have been having. As you can see, now that we are in May, the days they are moving really fast. In a dream that I had, I saw my late wife. She was standing, looking at me, and she was laughing. This is the woman that I sacrificed 10 years ago when I used to live in Limpopo to acquire the wealth that I do have today. It has been a very long time. I have made some terrible decisions, Brother Nashin. In the dream, she looked at me and she started laughing. She said, "Oh, so now you are busy running around, right? You want to find a way to stay here in South Africa. So you think that you deserve to live, and I did not deserve to live. You are going to die. Once you come back home, you are going to die, and I'm going to make sure that I end your life only after I would have made you to suffer so much." She is saying that once I go back, once I set my foot back in Zim, she is going to sacrifice me the way that I sacrificed her life for money. My wife has been haunting me ever since the year that the Sangoma passed away. For you to understand what makes a man sacrifice the woman that is giving birth, because this is what I did when she was giving birth at Seshego. Let me take you back to how it all started in Limpopo. 10 years ago, I was living in an area just before Mankweng in Limpopo. At that time, around that area, to those that know that place, when you are going to Giani, you will pass an area where there are a lot of new residential stands, where a lot of people are building their houses and the villages that are also surrounding that place. What I realized was that those people, they wanted a lot of building materials, and there was no one that was offering them any kind of a service. So one afternoon, I visited a Zimbabwean friend of mine. He was busy and he was a bricklayer, and he was waiting for the lady that he was working for. She was a Sutu woman, and she wanted to find a person who was going to make some bricks because they were finished. I looked at my friend and I saw that he did not have any business mind at home because he was already a bricklayer. He could make bricks. So then I spoke with that lady and I said that I knew how to make bricks. I was actually lying to that lady. I rushed back to Mankweng later on in the evening, and I went and I looked for this other guy. He was a Zimbabwean guy. He was good at welding. I told him that I wanted him to make for me a manual and operated brick making machine, and I was going to collect it the very next morning. So I went to his house the next morning, and then he had already finished. I just waited for the finishing touch-ups. I rushed back to that place, and that lady, she was waiting for me, and I started making the bricks. The bricks, I want to confess that they did not come out looking out so nice, but she did not mind. And from there on, with the money that I got, I started to look for other guys that could assist me. I went and I spoke with these other boys. They had an internet cafe, and I told them to print some business cards for me and some flyers. I started to give people flyers around Mankweng so that they can hire me whenever they wanted to make bricks or any kind of a work. And and I was making a lot of money. It did not take me a long time. I had a lot of boys that were from Zim. I would get them from other villages in Limpopo, those that were unemployed, and they were working for me. I was making a lot of money in Mankweng. I would go to Giyani, Tanin, even in Venda, because these people from Venda that were staying in Mankweng, they knew or they would have seen how good my bricks were. So when they wanted to build their own houses in Venda, then we'll just talk, negotiate on the price, go with my boys to their village, stay there while I was making the bricks. My marketing strategy, it was excellent, and people liked me because whenever a client would buy large order, what I will do, I would even buy extra bags of cement, make additional bricks for them completely free of charge. I would tell them this is a gift from me so that if any bricks break during construction, you won't have any shortage of bricks. Because of that, these clients would constantly recommend me to their family, to their friends. However, running a business with workers, it gives you severe management headaches. I then found a massive contract in Bochum where there was this other guy. He was working in the government. He wanted to build three houses there, those big mansions in Bochum. So I heard about him. I approached him, and then he said that he wanted me to do the bricks. He was going to give me this contract, and I was very happy. The challenge that I had was that across Limpopo, I had boys that were everywhere. In any village that you can think of, my boys were them making the bricks. So I then went to Bochum, and I left my guys to start working on the job whilst I would go with other guys in another area where we were supposed to make and where we were supposed to do another contract. What I did not realize is that a human being is full of greed. When you leave workers on a site, they will start to look at other things, and they are always complaining. They managed to speak with that guy that had given me the contract, and then they said that they were willing to do the job at half the price. And then I received a phone call. When I received a phone call, it was that guy from Bochum. He then lied to me and he said, Chief, I have run out of funds right now. Tell your boys to stop working because I won't be able to pay you in time. They have only opened so far 5 bags of cement. So just calculate the money that I owe you and you can call them back to Mangweng. Brother Nashi, I accepted, but I started to suspect. Anyway, I sent money for my boys and then they returned back to Mangweng. Once they returned, they started acting so weird. They claimed that they had found another piece job in the surrounding village. They did not want to work with me. I did not stop them because I never restricted my workers from earning extra cash on their off days. I kept on suspecting. And then that was when I went to Bochum. I just wanted to see if this man had bought his bricks from another brickyard. When I arrived there, surprise, surprise, I found my boys. They were running around. They were busy making the bricks at that man's house. And when I asked them, they shouted at me and they said, Old man, look here, man. Everyone came to South Africa on his own, and we are here to look for money. The way that you love money, we also love money. You have a family that is eating well right now. We also have families that want to eat well. So please, just let us work. We don't want to get paid the small amounts that you are always giving us, yet you are always sitting, you do not work. I then explained to them that I was the business owner. I had more stress than they had. And they said, no, we also want to become business owners. So I left Bochum. I was heartbroken. I was desperate. I had only one guy that also stayed in Mankweng. He was a guy that was from Malawi. One day when we were busy working, I then revealed everything that was stressing me to him. I said, my brother, I am thinking of quitting this brick business altogether. He said, why? And I said, I think that I should just return back to my country to concentrate on doing farming. Dealing with people, it is giving me a lot of stress. This man then said to me, boss, the problem is that you are too soft to everyone. You are soft to the customers. If a customer say that he or she does not have enough money, you just said, okay, a job is a job. Let us do it. You can't operate like that when you are running a business. You are not supposed to be a normal human being. I asked him what he meant by that. He then told me that he had an uncle of his who stayed in Blantyre. Whenever he would come to the village, the workers, they would run around. Even when he was not around, the workers, they would act as if the boss was around and he was using some charms that they knew as a family. I then begged him to give me the phone numbers of anyone that could assist me. He said he did not want me to go to a Sangoma because in his family, a lot of people had died because of the rituals that the uncle had been doing for a very long time. So without any phone numbers of a Sangoma, I was really stuck. So I did not have any contact with anyone from Malawi that could assist me. Not long after I had that conversation with the guy from Malawi, there was a funeral in the family. So I traveled back to the funeral alone. Whilst I was there, I then spoke with one of my uncle and I explained how everything was not working for me in South Africa. All my workers, they were dishonest. And what had hurt me the most is that my wife had lost all respect for me. Without even asking me, Brother Nashi, she had been stealing some of my customers, giving them to my brother in law. What I had done was that I had brought a biological brother from Zim to South Africa, found a room for him in Mankweng. Also, the wife came using my money. He was undocumented. By the way, I still had a valid ZEP work permit at that time, but I protected him, made sure that he was working at all the times. But my wife, you know what she would do? She would steal some contacts from my phone that belonged to the clients whilst I was fast asleep. And then the brother would speak with that client that would have asked for a quotation. And I would be surprised that some of these people, they would ask for a quotation and never return back to me. It was because they were having their bricks made at a half the price. When I found out about this, I was heartbroken. I spoke with my uncle, and my uncle then told me that he had this other traditional healer that was going to assist me from Malawi, but he was also going to find someone else that was readily available in South Africa that could assist me to save some money, because he asked me if I had some money to go with him to Malawi, and I told him that no, as for now, I really don't have any money. I then returned back to South Africa. When I returned back to South Africa, my uncle, he then called me and then he told me that he had finally managed to get some contacts of this other traditional healer, but he was a Malawian traditional healer who was based in SA. I said, Uncle, please give me those phone numbers, for I want them right now. I then got those phone numbers. After I had gotten the phone numbers, I spoke with the traditional healer who told me that he was staying in Amanskraal. I then said, okay, it's fine. I will see when I will be able to come to Amanskraal so that you can assist me. When I finally got the time and the opportunity, I then left my wife, whom I left in Mankweng, and then I went to Amanskraal to negotiate with that traditional healer. All that I wanted was for that healer to assist me with a powerful charm that would make people to be afraid of me, because I even had other people that were owing me money for years. Those people, when I would go to them, they would say that we don't have money. The next thing, they have bought a car, they are extending their houses. So the Malawian healer then said something to me which was really scary. He said, for you to have a lot of money, for this charm to work, you must impregnate your wife. And when she has reached her ninth month of her pregnancy, when she goes into labor at the hospital, you are supposed to take this, as he was giving me a charm. This charm, I was supposed to put it in the food that she was going to eat so that she can give birth to a stillborn baby, and we're going to use that baby to create a tokoloshi that would assist me so that I can become wealthy. The spirit of that dead child was going to help me. So I agreed. I don't know why I agreed. Maybe it was because of the bitterness that I had inside of me, knowing that my wife, she had already betrayed me. She had already stolen my business and was giving it to her brother. She was being stubborn, as if she no longer wanted to be my wife. And there was an added advantage. The healer then said to me, there is something that I did not tell you. I said, what is it? He said, this charm, I want it to be a warning to you. Women are going to chase after you, especially married women that are light skinned and beautiful. They will find you irresistible. They would want to sleep with you even in the street. Oh, Brother Nashi, I had a deep weakness for beautiful South African women, especially those ones that you call yellow bones. And I was unable to get some of these women because I was just someone who was a brick maker. So these women, they did not love me. I then returned back to Mankweng with the charms. I started to sleep with my wife, and I had been told to buy a green garment. I folded it, and each and every night when my wife was fast asleep, I would then put it underneath the bed. and then I will pretend as if nothing is happening. When she was pregnant, I took it and I hid it somewhere else. Rather, I had been given a clay pot that I was supposed to protect. My wife was never supposed to see it. I rented another place, and I rented these two rooms. I was not even using them every day. I had just rented that place because I wanted a place where I could safely put the clay pot in which the spirit of my son was going to stay after my wife would have given birth to him, but he would have already been dead. So when it was 9 months, my wife, she was with a friend in town in Polokwane, and then she started to get really sick. They rushed her to Seshego, that big hospital that is there. And she called me and she said that she felt like she was about to deliver a baby. I rushed Brother Nashi because wherever I went to, I carried that green garment. I was told that my wife was never supposed to give birth when I was not around. Otherwise, we were going to miss that opportunity to create a togoloshi. I took that green garment in the carry bag that I always carried around with me, and I tied a knot. This made her womb not to open up, and it was going to delay until I would have arrived in Seshego. I then traveled from the village where I was out of Polokwane, and in the evening I was in Seshego. I then slept at my friend's place who stayed that side. So early in the morning, I then bought, those my hair from Zim and an energy drink, and then I put those charms in the my hair. I then went to the hospital. As you know, that at the hospital, especially the women that are about to give birth, they don't allow you to give them any food. So what I did was that my wife, she did not have any clothes to change. So she asked me and she said, "Is it fine for you to go to the shops, even by Pep, and you buy some clothes for me so that I can change?" So I then went and I bought a t-shirt dress, and I bought another pair of clothes for him, and I took that t-shirt and I hid the energy drink as well as the maheu in there, the bottle that had the charms. I lied to my wife when I saw him, and I gave him the maheu and the energy drink, and I said that you need to drink this because the prophet has prayed for them. If you want to give birth fast, you need to drink this. It will ease your labor pain and you will give birth really fast. So she drank everything, Brother Nashim. So after she had drank everything, she texted me later on, and then she told me that she was in severe pain. I told you that I was praying, but I was actually celebrating because the healer had said that our victory is going to come through surgery. If she was going to be taken to the theater and they were going to do a C-section operation, the baby was not going to survive. And indeed, that is what happened. After our child had passed away, my wife was heartbroken. She then went to Zim to recover from the trauma. Rather, I was making a lot of money, but still, there was a ritual that I was supposed to do. The healer then told me that in order for me to activate this togoloshi, I was supposed to sleep with a woman that was on her menstrual cycle when she was on her period. So I targeted this other woman who had been staying in Mankweng. I went to her and I told her that I wanted to give her some money, and this woman, she loved money quite a lot. Later on, she then texted me and she told me that she wanted money to buy sanitary pads. I said, "Come to my room right now. I'll give you the money." When she came to my room, I immediately demanded that we be intimate. She said, "Why are you treating me like a prostitute? I am on my period." I manipulated her and I said that I had heard that sleeping with a woman on her period, it is so amazing and she is really beautiful. We slept together. After I had slept with a woman on my period, I did not on her period. I did not clean my manhood. After that, I had been forbidden from washing my body, bathing, using any soap, roll on for 2 full months. I was supposed to go around smelling like that. And this I started to do. Brother Nashim, it was really terrible. As someone that was working with cement every day, and Limpopo is very hot, You are mixing cement. Imagine the way that you will be sweating and smelling at the end of the day. For me, I did not mind because I knew that I had to perform this ritual. But for other people, they would always cover their nose. When I would walk close to them, my mouth, it was even smelling, going for many months without even brushing your teeth. I was then forced to go to Tsanin. And there was this other lady that was owing me money. She called me and then she said, "Can you come and collect your money?" So I was supposed to go there. So I got onto the taxi. When I was on the taxi, I was seated with these other two women. Immediately when I entered the taxi, both of them, they covered their nostrils from the place where I got onto the taxi until we reached Tsanin. And I did not even mind, Brother Nashim. What else was I supposed to do? I was not allowed to wash my private part. I was not allowed to wash my armpits. So the healer had told me that people, they would find me to be smelly, but I was not supposed to be bothered by it. He said the way people would look at you being disgusted by the way that you will be smelling, that is how customers will come to you, and you will have so many customers you won't even know what to do with them. And he said that just like the way that flies love something that is really smelly, clients will come to your business like flies. Shortly after I had completed the 2 months, I started to get contracts in the farms, even in the government. I was doing subcontracts. Eventually, that was when I started a civil construction company in Joburg, moved out of Limpopo. I even bought a brand new Ford Ranger. We started to live a nice life in Joburg, me and my wife. My wife, she was excited. I had banned my wife from ever visiting the Apostolic Church. One day, my wife, she went to the Apostolic Church where she was told that they had seen that the child that she had carried in her womb was being used and was crying that the child was being used as a togoloshim. So they wanted her to perform a go back to sender. Let me send this as a strong warning to other people that would want to do a go back to sender in the future. This is how a go back to sender turns out. If you go to a powerful sangoma or a powerful pastor, you will see that the go back to sender is worked. But if your pastor is not strong than the sangoma who is bewitching you, then it is going to return back to you as a double go back to sender. That is what happened to my wife. When she was busy with those prophets doing a go back to sender to me, then I received a phone call from that Malawian healer. He was laughing. He said, see your wife, what she is doing. She has gone to this weak prophet and she is trying to send a spiritual strike against me, against my ancestors. But my ancestors, they have reflected it back at her. She is going to die for what she has done. Within weeks, my wife, she was ill. I went with him. She stayed in a private facility that was very expensive. Even her relatives, they said that this man loved his wife, but they did not know that my wife had been killed by my Togoloshim. 3 months after my wife's death, I drove back to Zim and I went and I slept on the grave of my wife. And I did not even inform relatives that I was going to come to see where we had buried him. I took a blanket and I laid myself on top of it. In the morning, that was when I made poop and urine. I put it in a plastic. I was supposed to drive with it back to South Africa. But on the border, there was this other police officer. I think that this man, he has some strong motive because he just suspected that I had something with me in the car. He got into the car, he looked around, he was talking to me. He sensed that I was carrying poop and I wanted to use that poop for rituals because I had been told that I need to return with it back to SA. So unfortunately, I threw it away when that man had gone somewhere else to mind his other duties. Once I threw it away, he did not even come back to my car. So I returned back and I did more rituals and I continued making money. The problem is that ever since I got my ZEP, I can't renew it. I have tried lawyers. I have tried everything. I have money, brother. I should get this thing working. But my wife, when I saw her in the dream, she was laughing. She said this to me. Any Home Affairs official that will get hold of your file trying to renew your ZEP permit, you will just get confused. You can stand up and forget about your file and say, I will do it another day. But it is I that will be blocking you from ever getting your permit. I want you to return back home so that I can finish you. The problem is that my healer has since passed away. When 30 June comes around the corner, I don't know, because all that I have right now, it is a waiver to show that I am currently waiting for my status. I don't know if they are going to allow me to continue staying in South Africa, or they are going to kick me out of my business to return back home, where she says that she is waiting to kill me. I have heard about a Sangoma. I'll update you if it happens that I go to Mozambique. Your dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent in May by our dear brother. I hope that you are still alive, brother. If you are still alive, please just say something and talk to us so that we know that you are still okay. He was saying that he wants to go to Mozambique before 30 June. I hope that he is still okay. But the spirit of his wife is saying, once you come back to Zim, it is over for you. I'm going to deal with you decisively. Let us speak with our brother in the comment section.